The Tragedy of Cinema podcast is intended as a family-friendly program that by extension strives to be inclusive to all people regardless of their ethnicity, gender, creed, or any other identifying factors in this incredibly diverse world of ours. With that said, some of the films we discuss may contain serious subject matters or have content considered morally objectionable by today's standards. We do not intend to condone or dismiss these aspects of these films, but our primary focus will be on what we believe the film succeeds at, some fun facts, and our personal enjoyment factors of each film. With that said, we hope you enjoy the show.
Sure?
Yep, that's him.
America's favorite stiff is back.
That's Bernie Lomax. I recognize that smirk anywhere.
But this corpse has a job to do.
I found this in Bernie's wallet. It's a key to a safety deposit box in St. Thomas. That's the $2 million that Lomax stole.
It's noted as a personal entry account.
What does it mean?
The only one who could get in is Bernie Lomax personally, and well, he's kind of dead right now.
We go back to the morgue. We get the body. We go to St. Thomas. We take Bernie to the bank.
So they're packing him up.
I think I'm gonna sit down. Thanks. Get in there.
And heading for the islands.
Whoa, downwind. Whoa, back out.
But they're about to discover
Raise this man from the dead. He will lead you to where he has hidden the money.
that Bernie Lomax is more popular than ever.
Two guys. They're taking Bernie. Bitch.
Claire?
Get out of the way.
What'd you do with Bernie?
He's in the fridge where we put him.
You are in the power of the movie.
You were supposed to be here guarding Bernie.
Why would I have to guard a dead man stuck in a 2-foot refrigerator?
He's got style.
Where is he now?
You're so cute.
He's got charm.
How did you happen to meet old Bird?
In the conga line.
He's just got no soul.
I just saw a dead man walking on the bottom of the ocean.
But that never stopped Bernie
Parasailing?
Who is that?
He's our boss. He's dead. Don't worry about it.
from being the life of the party.
See, Arnold, he's not afraid of you. You're the bravest guy I've ever met.
Weekend at Bernie's, too. No one does dead like Bernie.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Tragedy of Cinema podcast. I'm your host Jimbo.
And I'm your loathsome co-host, Kyle.
Kyle, today we will be talking about one of the best sequels of all time, according to Kyle. Weekend at Bernie's 2. Because we had so much fun with the first one.
At least some of us did.
And Kyle watched Weekend at Bernie's 2 when he was supposed to be watching Gremlins 2 last week. So he was ready for this one anyway, with jumping the gun. So I figured, well, we might as well go ahead and do it since Kyle already watched it.
I had to watch it twice because of that.
And you laughed both times, didn't you?
I laughed at myself for being such a fool.
Hey, Kyle. But before we get started, Kyle, we have a question for you.
A question for me.
Okay. If you remember last time when we did Weekend at Bernie, do you remember what it was?
I don't remember, Jimbo.
I said, Kyle, if we walked into Denny's and our favorite waitress was dead, and that we would have to tie our shoes to her and still serve food for the rest of the day, right?
Yeah.
Kyle.
She wasn't there this time we went to Denny's. She may have died. We don't know.
She was there.
She was there?
Yeah, but she wasn't our waitress.
Oh, she wasn't our waitress today. Okay, I didn't see her.
I guess she's too popular and we stuck with another waitress. But that's okay.
It's okay. She was nice too.
Kyle, if we ended up in the precarious position that these two fellows ended up in, when we were trying to get to a safety deposit box to get the $2 million that was stolen out of the first movie, what song do you think would be the perfect one to play for our, we'll just say the Denny's waitress, to be jiving to as she's leading us to the money? Because in this one, it was a lot of that Jamaican, the jump.
Exactly. Oh gosh. What's that? The Chick Beatty Bomb song. The Chick Beatty Bomb, Chick Beatty Bomb. That song's got a high rhythm beat to it.
They call me Cuban Pete.
They call me Cuban Pete. That one. Exactly. Cuban
From
Pete.
The Mask?
That song from The Mask. Yes, do that one because it's got a fast beat to it. He'd be galloping in the ocean to get to the chest. Exactly. Jimbo, what song would you use? I had mine down immediately too.
No, you did.
I did.
You didn't even know what it was called.
But I knew which song I wanted. I didn't know the name, but I knew which song I wanted immediately. I could Spotify that easily.
Let's see.
I don't think I had an 8-track of that.
You picked a fast one. Maybe I could pick a slow one so they slow down enough for us fat guys to keep along with like Unchained Melody or something.
How slow can Bernie go? Yeah, exactly. Just spinning some smooth jazz for Bernie to fuck around to just
elevator music.
Along. Exactly.
No, maybe the Austin Powers song. He'd go, he'd move and then he'd stop.
Yeah. Just a record vinyl skipping.
He'd get stuck. He'd be like,
yeah, different generations of having to get different technology for him to work for. Like now, it's just Spotify in earbuds. It's fine. Right. But now you have to put like a vinyl cord on his back, and then you got to tear. Got to hand crank it.
Kyle, we've already discovered there's not a lot of information on this movie when it comes to trivia, which I'm surprised because to me it seems like there was a lot more stunt work in this, where I thought you would be able to find some more stunt stuff on it, but alas, I could not. So let's go and take this away, and we'll talk about the movie a little bit more.
All right, we have Weekend at Bernie's 2. They made a sequel to this. Released on July 9th of 1993. I still wasn't born yet. I still have a few months to go. Bye, boy.
So Bernie could be your dad.
Yeah, Bernie could have been.
From the first one.
From the first one. We'll say from the first one. Quick little thing. Director of this film was Robert Klein. Robert Klein was the writer of the first film, Weekend at Bernie's 1, in 1989. And he was also the writer of National Lampoon's Euro Vacation in 1985.
You seen that?
Yes, I have. That's a movie. That's a movie, all right. I like Christmas and Vegas Vacation just fine. I think there's more kid-friendly, a lot more fun to watch. The first two, I don't think they hold up. They're made for the dad. Yeah. I'll say this one, they're made for the dad. Composer of this film was Peter Wolf. Cinematographer was Edward Morey III. And editor was Pac Pryor. And casting director was Jason Leigh Padera. There we go. And production designer was Michael Bolton. No, not that Michael Bolton. It's Michael S. Bolton. Sorry. I was so disappointed when I watched this film and I saw Michael Bolton appear on like the opening credits. I was like, Michael Bolton's in this film? All right. This film's going to go a good way now, I'm sure. And then he never showed up. And I was like, what in the world?
Everybody, what was it? The 40-year-old virgin when they always said, Michael Bolton? Or no, Office Space. Remember when they're like, your name is Michael Bolton? Not that Michael Bolton.
Not that.
That's what they always say.
Yeah, it would have been so cool to have a random cameo of Michael Bolton. But it's a cruel joke to just play on me. I've like just because even the credits, it doesn't say Michael S. Bolton. It says Michael Bolton.
Right.
It doesn't even say production designer. They definitely put that intentionally to mislead you in thinking Michael Bolton was in this film.
I think Michael Bolton playing the Barry Bostwick character would have been funny too.
It would have been hilarious. Michael Bolton could have appeared anywhere in this film. It would have immediately elevated it by like 2 to 3 points in my book. Anyways, let's move on here. Budget for the film was a very modest $7 million, really worth about the equivalent of $14.7 million today. So that's really not bad for a film, especially getting filming on set in Hawaii and all that kind of stuff too. So that's pretty cool there. Oh, actually, I had to make sure it actually filmed in Hawaii. No, it was the U.S. Virgin Islands where it was filmed. Okay, now we know. Next up here, we have the opening weekend box office numbers, where it made $4 million, worth about $8.4 million today. And gross worldwide, it made $12.7 million, which is worth about $26.8 million today. Once again, this was also released in the 90s, so I'm sure it also made pretty good, modest to pretty good, I'm sure, VHS numbers back in the day, too, because I was, like, really kind of like, I think the 90s is kind of like the best VHS era for films. Just making a ton of money off VHS sales and people not going to theater to watch films. And this film, like, I think especially, like, I wouldn't go to a theater to see this, but I definitely could see myself renting it at a Blockbuster or
you would have went
a
with
Family
me.
Video or something like that. Blockbuster was 90s, yeah. I'm trying to think of how many other video stores were out in the 90s, and like a lot of them were.
Oh, there was all kinds of mom and pop ones that popped up.
Mom and pop ones especially were awesome.
Even our local Marsh You could rent the VCRs and the cassettes there.
Yeah, and there was Movie Gallery too, but I don't know which ones were open specifically in the 90s as those brands. I just always go to Blockbuster Video as the first one because, of course, yeah. But still, I could see this is easy movie to pick up at a Blockbuster Video for sure to rent, 15 times, So I'm sure people watch it a lot that way. So I bet this film made good money on the back end. I'm sure if it didn't make great money at the opening gross worldwide, which is I'd say doing the kind of the weird math in the film, you always kind of have the budget for the film and assume that's also the same budget for the marketing. So it was $7 million to make the film, then $7 million to let people know you made it. So this film probably cost between $10 and $20 million overall. So making $12 million back, probably not good. But
still better than Gremlins 2.
Still better than Gremlins 2, unfortunately, in terms of earnings, which is very, very sad for Gremlins 2. But yeah, but also, like I said, I bet both of these movies did very well on VHS scenes, especially Gremlins 2. People realized, wait, Gremlins 2 is awesome, actually? Yes, it is. I better buy it on VHS. And they did. I'm sure they did. Yeah. Plot summary of the film coming up right here. I skipped it last week. Hopefully I get it right this week. After their adventure at Bernie's weekend house, the events which took place in Weekends Bernie 1, accountants and programmers Oafish Larry and uptight Richard returned to New York only to have their insurance company they all worked for blame them for Bernie's theft of $2 million and fire them. Larry and Richard investigate and discover that the money is somewhere in St. Thomas and the Virgin Islands. Oh, so it was filmed on location in the Virgin Islands. I just said it was Hawaii because I just said Hawaii. Meanwhile, the cartel Bernie was stealing the money for hires a voodoo queen to help them find the money. She tells Henry and Charles to steal Bernie's body and raise it from the dead to lead them to the money. Unfortunately, Henry and Charles goof and Bernie can only move when he hears music. Richard, Larry, and Bernie all go to St. Thomas to find the money with Claudia's aid, tailed by the company security officer Hummel, who believes that Larry and Richard stole the money as well as Henry and Charles. Who will get to the money first? Bum, bum, bum. Moving on to the award section here, we only have one award and one nomination, which I think it deserves 2 wins, honestly, if I'm looking at the awards right here. We have the 1993 The Stinkers Bad Movies Award. Where it was nominated for the Stinky Award of the sequel nobody was clamoring for. And it won the sequel for Worst Sequel. I shouldn't be so mean to this movie. But it's bad.
But it's funny movie. Because you said you liked this better than the first one, so...
It's not as offensive as the first one. But even then, I could probably find... I thought there's still stuff about it. I'm like, what's going on here? This is a color info. Aspect ratio is a standard 1.85 by 1. Camera used was the Panavision Panaflex Gold. And laboratory, this was Technicolor in Hollywood, California, the US of A. And let's see here, production status. This film was filmed from July... okay, I only have the release date for July 9th, 1983 to earliest known dates. So, okay, since we have the release dates. Filming locations, this was filmed on location in the US Virgin Islands and New York City for those corresponding shots. Moving on to the cast, we have a repeating cast from last movie. Very surprising, I know. Unfortunately, what was her name?
Holly, I think it was.
Holly, yeah, that character. It's fine, I'll leave it there. I think actually I got it here. There it is. Catherine Moraine Stewart could not make it back because I'm sure she was probably filming The Last Starfighter or anything better in her career.
Wow.
She probably saw the script for Winged to Burn 2. It's like, nah. And she's never mentioned this film at all. But first up, we have Andrew McCarthy playing the character of Larry Wilson.
He's so funny.
Andrew McCarthy was in most recently a few seasons of the Orange is the New Black TV show. He was also in the film Pretty in Pink in 1986 and the film St. Elmo's Fire in 1985. Next up, returning to the film, Jonathan Silverman reprises his role as Richard Parker. Jonathan Silverman was also, of course, in the film Brighton Beach Memoir in 1986 and Caddyshack 2 in 1988. And then, of course, we have the man of the hour, the star character of all the whole film, the film which this whole series is based on now. Terry Kaiser reprises his role as Bernie Lomax.
How good is he, though, in that role?
Terry Kaiser is easily the best part of this whole movie in every aspect. He knows what he's doing in this film more than anyone else in terms of just being a goofball. His dance work is incredible. Like, you know,
he still has that stupid smirk on his face.
He's got
from
that
the
stupid
first
smirk
one.
on his face. Like he knows what he's doing more so than anyone else in this whole film. We're like, yeah, this film, every redeeming quality is directly related to him. So that's definitely I'm gonna put that right there. And of course, once again, recycling this my notes from the last time. Terry Kaiser was also in the film Tammy and T-Rex in 1994, and Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood. Don't know the year that came out. I didn't write that one down. Next up, we have Troy Byer playing the role of Claudia, which I believe is Larry Wilson's new love interest in this film. Troy Byer was also in the film Baps in 1997, and also the film Love Don't Cost a Thing in 2003. Next up, we have Barry Bostwick playing the character of Arthur Hummel, the company man on the search for Larry and Richard as they try and figure out what
he
they're
did a
trying to
good
do.
job too.
He was doing some good character work as well. Yeah, Barry Bostwick was also like every scene he had was also pretty funny as well. Barry Bostwick was also the co-lead main man in the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I forgot his name. Janet and what was the guy's name? Brad. Thank you. Janet and Brad and Janet, and the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And he was also in the show Spin City from 1996 to 2002, which is a show I have no idea what it's about and have not watched. Next up, we have Tom Wright playing the character of Charles. Tom Wright was also in the show Daisy Jones and the Six this year, actually, Daisy Jones and the Six, which came out in 2023. And he was also in the film Walkaway Joe. Then next up, we have Steve James playing the character of Henry. Steve James was also in the film To Live and Die in L.A. in 1985. And he was in the films American Ninja 1, 2, and 3 from 1985, 87, and 89, respectively. Yep. And that's all we have for the cast of Weekend at Bernie 2 right there. Jimbo, we can go on to that short trivia, then we'll talk about how bad or good this film, and we'll see who wins this fight.
Well, we already know I won the first round, so...
Right, whatever.
So since there's not a lot much trivia, let's go talk a little bit about the movie. So we find Richard and Larry thinking they're getting these big promotions with... I think Richard's wanting... I'm getting a door. You know, he's wanting a door on his office.
These things going to be set up. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I'm on Easy
Street. But they get called
now.
up to like the big penthouse to like the boss, where and they go in there and they're talking, and it's under the assumption that you guys are the ones that uncovered Bernie's
fraud,
$2 million fraud. Oh yeah, yes sir. And they just say, and you were with Bernie that weekend. Well, yeah. Well, who invited you? They said, well, Bernie did. So they're under the assumption that they are in on it, cohorts with Bernie, and basically they get fired.
Yeah.
So
very reasonable too. Of course you'd get fired. What are you talking about?
Right.
Oh, so you revealed the fraud to the person who committed the fraud, and then you went to the weekend getaway with them, and then you happened to die.
You were there where you would die.
Like, this is the most easy shit. Like, why would the cops not arrest you? They clearly know you're in on it.
Right. Well, how did they not get interviewed by the cops before that?
Yeah, exactly. Everything about that makes no sense. So
basically, they get fired, and
thank you.
So they get fired, and the guy's like, this ain't over. I think they're in on it. They know more than they know. They know where the money is, and that hey, we want you to. The head of security wants you to tell them and follow them and find out where it's at.
What
and
they know.
Like,
yeah.
And if you don't find out, you're going to be joining them in the unemployment line, basically.
Yeah.
So, Richard gets a call in the middle of the night. He comes in his pajamas, and Larry's over there
at a fancy restaurant.
Fancy restaurant, dressed up
to the nines. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, you do know that this is the most expensive restaurant in New York City. He's like,
yeah, who cares? Yeah. It's fine. I am gonna tell myself Bernie's a strange nephew or son, whatever. He lies to the police, always a good move, and tells them that he was basically Bernie's next of kin and thus deserves all his assets.
Right.
And on top of that, he stole Bernie's credit card out of his coat, and then he reveals he also found a key to a safety deposit box in the Virgin Islands.
Right.
Which they can go to. They can go to the Virgin Islands and go find. Oh, actually, they have to go to the office building and then find out where he kept the account, whatever. And that's where they go to the Virgin Islands.
So they end up breaking back into the office
where they've been fired from. Yeah.
Right. And they said, yeah, we found it. It's a safety deposit box in the Virgin Islands. And they're doing all this research. Well, they get busted by security, get kicked out.
They get arrested again.
Yeah.
And the cops let them go again. When
right.
It's so clear. Something of that. Like, if anything, they'd find the paperwork with them. Like, oh, you got the paperwork, huh? Oh, look at that. You found Bernie's where he stole the money. I wonder if we should go investigate this. Cops, nah, they're white. It's okay.
But at the same time, in a different part, these two guys in the Virgin Islands are
they're part of the cartel.
Yeah. Then they've been sent. They want them to come back and put a voodoo curse on Bernie, and that he will lead them to where the $2 million is that they had stole from the cartel. And they give them all the ingredients and everything, or they give them the list of ingredients they need and all that. So they come to America, they go to the morgue, and they have everything except their chicken runs away. Mm-hmm. And I like it was funny because the chicken ran away, so they're going to try to find a chicken in New York City, and they go to the fried chicken place, remember? Yeah. And he's like, I don't think this is going to work. And they look over, they see a pigeon there. So they use a pigeon.
Bok, bok. And this is the thing where I feel like, not necessarily racist, but weird to me, is that, like, there's never a moment where I understand what Henry and Charles are up to there. I have no idea if they're even part of the cartel or any method like that. The cartel hires the voodoo queen to get two men to go down to the ring. But, like, the two guys show up and they act like they have nothing to do with the cartel or criminal activity. Like, they got, like, seduced to go to a club.
What I think it is I think that they got, like, I'll say, they're not the smartest people in the world.
Yes,
is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Like, it's like if they hired me and you to go do something like this, we'd be like, okay.
They're two random Joes who are supposed to mirror Larry and Richard in this film.
Right.
And it's just like, but also it's clear it's like, but the voodoo queen, like, puts a spell on them. They get so, like, messed up in this film. And it's not clear that they're criminals at all. I have no idea if they're just, like, people who got, like, in a bad situation at all. It's never made it clear in the film. And they get punished in the worst way possible in this film. In a way that's like, who are these people?
In case you don't know, they end up becoming goats at the end.
Under Bernie's.
So anyway, they go to the morgue.
Yeah. So Bernie turned two black people into animals and then proceeds to own them. There's nothing racist about that.
That does happen. But so man, you threw me for a loop there. I had to stop for a second.
Yeah, like, you're right.
So they got Bernie propped up on a toilet, right? And they got, like, hey, you drew the symbol on the floor. We got 179 candles or whatever lit.
Yeah.
And so we got the chicken.
But the X's left and the circle right.
They put the pigeon in his arm and they do everything and nothing happens.
Yeah.
And they're like, man, I told you we should have got the chicken. We did it wrong, blah, blah, blah. He's like, well, I'm going to play some music to think or whatever. And they play the boombox. And all of a sudden, in the background, they're still arguing. You see Bernie just start this dance. Jiving. And it is so funny. Mm-hmm. I don't know. If I was on the set, I probably would have laughed every single time. I don't think we would have got through the tape because his like legs start falling off the toilet, and he kind of starts crawling up the side of the wall. And
not since, like, he moves like Steve Martin dances.
But he's dead.
Yeah, like it's dead Steve Martin.
And
that's
so
he
comes walking out, and they're like, "Oh, he's alive!" And then he stops. They're like, "Let's go." He stops, and he just does this, just runs into the wall, and then he does this, falls straight back.
Perfect animated drops too.
Right.
Yeah. I will say, I like the animated opening of this film too. The animated opening too, that was pretty excellent as well. And just having Larry Richard's character desperately trying to keep him alive the entire. Gotta keep his body from falling out every single time and being idiots there was funny as well. But yes, the sequel too, where like the music stops and he drops like a sack of flour every single time. Hilarious, good stuff.
Every time the music stops.
Good slapstick comedy going on there.
So basically, they get him and they're walking in New York City with him to the music, and they get on a subway.
Yeah, and then somebody steals their boombox.
They jump off the subway.
Yeah,
and Bernie's left on the subway, and the security guard comes and he's like been robbed of his clothes. He's got like a wife beater on with something spray painted on his shirt and all that. And he ends up back in the morgue, and the guy at the morgue can't believe it. He's like, "This guy's already been here."
Yeah, he's already been here once.
No, he hasn't.
You need to take a nap.
Now Richard and Larry's like, "Hey, the only way we're going to get in this safety deposit box is we have to sign. Bernie has to be there, and he has to sign his name." So Larry and Richard have this idea
to break in the morgue and steal
the body for one more hurrah to take him to the thing. So they get him. and we're going to.
It was funny to see the third wall break too, where they find him in the morgue and they wonder like, "Where's his clothes?" I have no idea. Well, we got to dress him up, and so they find wherever his clothes are. But when they take off the blanket over him, they throw it at the camera and it goes over top there, and then it comes off and there's a cut to it. Cool little cut there.
Yeah, and they put him in that.
Similar
jogging outfit. And you see that they're going for the shoes. They got him hanging on a coat rack, and they take the shoes. What Richard thinks is a dead man, but it's actually the mortician, and they're passed out,
taking a nap.
And he wakes up and he hits his head and falls right down. So now Richard thinks it's a live person.
Yeah, which it is.
It is.
Yeah.
So, do you remember how they discover that he moves to music?
It wasn't till the end of the movie when he gets washed up on the beach at the very end there that he listens to music to move.
No, not the end of the movie. It's when
the conga line.
They figured they're going to the Virgin Islands now.
Oh,
and they stuff him in a suitcase.
Yes. And then there's airport music in the suitcase, and you just see the suitcase.
You see the suitcase bulging out like this.
Bulging out. Like he's doing the chicken in there or something like that, just putting both his elbows out. I don't know how, did they really stuff a person in a suitcase to do those,
no,
movements? No,
surely not.
Or they have, a pneumatic device that just kept pulsing or something like that? I have no idea.
But it was in beat to the music. So they get to the Virgin Islands. They got their luggage. They're like, "Oh, be careful with that." They're like, "Well, you got a dead body in here." No, nothing like that.
Yeah.
But the entire time, the head of security, Barry Bostwick's character, I can't remember his name, is following them. What was his name?
Hummel.
Right.
Hummel, I think.
Yeah,
Arthur Hummel.
Yeah. So he's taking pictures and all this. Well, they make it in there and to their hotel or whatever, and he says, "Hey, I'm Bernie Lomax. I'll be here all weekend." Blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. And they end up taking their mini fridge and emptying it and stuffing Bernie in there. Well, first they open the suitcase and it stinks, and they take deodorant.
Right, it's almost like a decaying bodies in here or something like that.
And they just spray that deodorant all over, and then they stuff him in their mini fridge.
So gross.
Well, anyway, some beautiful ladies come by, and they end up. Larry ends up going out
to the beach.
And Rich is still there trying to figure things out. Well, he falls asleep at the desk, and Hummel takes this opportunity to break in, and he's looking and all that, taking pictures and all that, and Bernie's hand falls out of the freezer. He doesn't see it because the conga line's playing the music.
Yeah.
And now he's starting to come alive. Well, something falls, and Hummel takes out of there, and Bernie gets up, and he just darts out the open door.
Yeah.
And the music stops. You just see him fall face first. It's so funny. But then they're like, "Hey, one more last conga song." Yeah. And you see Bernie hop up, and he starts dancing, and somehow he walks right into the middle of this conga line, and he's like...
And then they take control of him basically like that, and they start falling around. And then a woman who has been clearly getting frustrated with her muscle-bound boyfriend, who's just a complete... He's a meathead. Yeah. And then the girl proceeds to if this guy likes to party and dance around, I'm going to hang out with Bernie.
He's such a better dancer than you.
He's such a pretty dancer. And then
he's like, "Brenda, where you going? Yeah. This guy knows how to treat him, and he's a great dancer.
He can't bench press a truck, though. I don't know."
And it's funny where he's like,
"All you do is work out. What's wrong with that?"
Yeah. He's like, "Come on, hey, buddy." And he turns around, and he swings around and says, Bernie punches him in the face.
Yeah, but being a dead guy, he doesn't feel it.
No, and he turns around and he punches the guy again. And then finally he lays into Bernie, and Bernie just starts that butt hump where he comes back up. He's like, "What are you doing?" And he punches him again. He keeps coming back up. He's like, "Oh, but this guy can take a lick." Yeah. And so Bernie's walking out towards the ocean on the beach. And it's nighttime, and Brenda's, "Wait up!" And she goes running by him and all of a sudden the conga stops, and he just sits down on the beach and falls down, and she rolls over on top.
Proceeds to sleep with him again.
I was like, "Oh man, Bernie's getting action after death."
Yeah, exactly.
Twice in two movies. But so
that's where he gets that smirk from.
Larry comes back home after he met with the lady that was the voodoo.
Yes, Claudia, Troy Byers' character.
And they wake up and they discover that
Bernie's missing.
Bernie is not there
in the fridge. Yeah.
Well, because he comes up and he climbs in bed. Remember, it's not till the next morning.
Yeah. Larry climbs in Richard's bed, and they're like, whoa.
Yeah.
And then Richard, I was like, oh, did you have a fun night? Did you get some action? And Larry lies.
Yeah.
I'm a man's man, you know me. Definitely not a virgin.
Well, the next time they wake up, they discover Bernie's missing.
Yeah.
Then the two guys find him. Well, actually, they're going to take Bernie. They find Bernie on the beach with the girl.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Where'd you find him at?" They're like, "Oh, he was the best dancer in the conga line." The conga line.
And they just assume that she's drunk and out of her mind, basically like that. But then she leaves and says, like, tell Bernie I had a great time, and then she leaves. And then
they're dragging him.
Yeah. Then they drag him into a Jeep, and then they proceed to take him to the safe, whatever financial building they go to, a bank or whatever. And they pretend to sign the document with his signature by stuffing Larry's hand in the jacket.
Stuff, man.
It's
great, Kyle.
But then they get a giant box, which you think like, oh, that definitely will hold $2 million. And they open it up, and all they find is
a newspaper
clipping
with a map
on it
with a Sharpie.
With a Sharpie,
yeah. And they're like, they look in there, and so they take Bernie back out to the car, and as they're waiting to do something,
Harry and Charles find Bernie and then proceed to try to steal him.
Yeah, and they put him in the back of the car or whatever.
The convertible, yeah. And then then Larry and Richard they're trying to kidnap Bernie. And so they get in front of the car and they say like, oh, do you guys know where the thing is? And they don't know who each other are at this point. So they drive past them. But while they drive past them, Larry and Richard just proceed to grab Bernie by the arms and just pull him out of the Corvette as it's driving by, and then just drops him straight onto the pavement, as a good slapstick humor goes. Yeah, it's a good joke. It's a good joke. I'll admit. Mm-hmm.
So basically, they find out that the voodoo curse has been put on Bernie. He will move to music, but he's leading them to the treasure that's on the map, the $2 million or whatever.
Yeah.
Which, when he goes underwater, is probably the best part of the movie. But Hummel has been like, he's went to this women's clothes shop and he's like he's changing into this dress or whatever, and they're like, "Mister, you can't be here." And he runs out there, and the cops arrest him. And the psychiatrist has looked at him and they're like, "Look, man, you just need to relax. You're still in something." He's like, "Are you stressed out or whatever?"
Yeah. Well, I remember because at some point after they drop Bernie on the pavement, they put him into the Jeep again to take him around there, and then Larry and Richard leave Bernie in the back of the Jeep while they go speak to Claudia about the voodoo map thing, because they thought they recognized the voodoo thing. And then I forget, how do they lose Bernie after that? Because they lose
because
Bernie.
the trolley comes by and it's playing music.
Oh,
and Bernie gets up out of the Jeep or whatever.
Gets out of the Jeep and animates about that. Yeah, so they lose Bernie. And then Harry and Charles find Larry and Richard. And then they proceed, "Oh man, you guys are the ones that kidnapped Bernie. We're going to kidnap you and take you to the voodoo queen and explain our situation so she won't turn this into goats."
Because they're already having a thing where he's like, "Man, look at that lady." And he's like, "Man." He's looking at
they're clearly, yeah.
So they put a curse on Richard where, hey, if you don't bring me my money or the map
you'll die.
To me, and you don't have the antidote by sundown, you'll die.
Yeah. So then the hunt is on, basically like that. And then they go back to find Claudia, who at this point she didn't study the map. She actually was going to give it to her father to study the map so she can actually get it. But then they go to Claudia's house, and then Bernie is doing his dance thing, ends up getting caught on a sail on a boat, on a parasail on a boat. And then proceeds to
rips the clothes off the two bikinis off the two girls, and just and the guy
then hits Hummel with Hummel who picks up both of the napkins. "Are these yours, ladies?" "Pervert!" Slaps him in the face, and then the police officer arrests him, gets arrested again. Yeah,
he's like, "I'm telling you, officers, it was Bernie." So they think he's having a nervous breakdown.
A dead man took these bikinis.
And basically, Bernie falls from the parachute right behind Larry and Richard.
Very convenient. And then also music's playing there again, and this is the time they fully get the revelation that, the voodoo guys were saying that he only moves when the music is playing, and they actually do see Bernie moving when the music is playing, and then they proceed to see Bernie go underwater when he can't hear the music, so he stops.
So they get headphones to put on him.
Yeah, they tape some headphones on his head. I put a Sony Walkman in there, and just sent him under the water.
And they put scuba gear on. So now they're following Bernie underwater because he's going to lead them to the treasure. And the way Terry Kaiser did that, I don't know how they did it, but he had to be underwater for a while. You know what I mean? Doing those scenes when they're following him. But so Hummel's been released there. He's like, look, get some rest. Go on a
little aquarium tour or something.
So he goes in this submarine
tour, and then proceeds to see Bernie walking on the seafloor. Proceeds to have a real nervous breakdown this time.
I'm going to break this up right now. I'm going to open this hatch. She said, sure. So they basically see him getting arrested again and shot with a
morphine or something like that,
which happens to be Claudia's dad.
Right, yeah, the doctor is the voodoo doctor, Claudia's dad.
Right.
Yeah.
So Bernie ends up going down there and he picks up this chest, but Larry is so excited that he actually shoots off the harpoon gun and it goes right
through his head, through the headset, which then destroys the music, so he can't hear it anymore. So he's dead in the water again.
And he has got a tight grip on the chest.
Yeah, so now they have to pull out Bernie's character, and it takes more time. And by the time they get pulled out onto the beach, Richard's character is beginning to succumb to the poison that the Voodoo Queen gave him. So then it becomes a race against time as they stop a chariot thing. Yeah. Was it a horse chariot thing?
No, it was pulled by that one.
Yeah, it was a horse chariot. It was like a horse tour of the Virgin Islands that a guy was giving, and then when
they put like the harness on Bernie.
Yeah, I put the harness on Bernie. I forget how they scare away them all, though. I forget how he scares them all away.
Oh, because they say, they're dragging him up there, and they say, he's just a dead. You've never seen a dead guy before, or whatever.
And they freak out, and everyone's scared.
Yeah, because the driver hops on the horse.
He hops on the horse and goes away, and everyone else leaves too.
So they hook Bernie up with
a saddle,
the yoke, and everything, man.
They play music again,
and he pulls.
And then Larry proceeds to use, they
got the reins tied to the spear in his head.
I gotta say, explaining this movie is more entertaining than watching it. Being perfectly honest, the idea of this film is very funny. The execution, I was bored all of tears. But talking about it, it's a lot more fun. But then proceeds to bring him down there, and then it turns out they apparently were on the peak of an island, I guess, because then they have a downward.
Well, they go down. They said, "Turn the music up, turn the music." Well, but they're going down. The Bernie's feet go up in the air, so they're just going down. The cops turn around and start chasing them. They're running into like fruit stands on the side of the road. They go through trees
as well.
Right? Yeah. He's like, "Bernie, there's Bernie," and they just keep. He crashes on them. They end up going right to where the voodoo lady is. Yeah. And they end up knocking the two cartel guys out.
Yeah. And then
they arrest the cartel guys.
Yeah.
And they gave the voodoo lady a concussion. They said she'll be out for hours.
Hours, yeah. So then becomes like they asked the voodoo doctor, Claudia's dad, who was I forget. Do I have his?
I don't think you have
that. I don't think I have his name down here. Okay, I don't have that. Yeah. Nope. Morgan. Nope. Claudia's dad. Stock Pierce's character was just called Claudia's dad. He was in War Games in 1983, by the way. I didn't write him down for the cast. Sorry, but Stock Pierce, who doesn't actually have a name, Claudia's dad is a voodoo doctor himself, and so it was like, I can cure him. But I need a virgin's blood. And where will we possibly find a virgin?
And this is funny, man. When you see Larry, get up and walk, he's like, "Virgin, huh?" And he goes, and he like sticks his hand out, like his finger out like this, and they're like, "You?" And he's like, "Just take it." And they stab him with that thing, and he goes, passes out just from that thing. Which, hey, I can relate to because I don't like needles or blood either, and I passed out myself.
For me, it's whenever I expect it. If I don't expect it, and I start bleeding, I want to pass out. If I know I'm going to start bleeding, like it's an intentional thing, then it's like no problem at all. Like, you need to give me a shot? Okay, no problem. Surprise shot? So yeah, I've found that in real life. No one take advantage of that. No one take advantage of that.
But when the chariot crashes, Bernie does let loose of the thing, and the thing pops open, and all the money's in there. It's falling because Larry jumps off the wagon. Money! And he ends up proceeding to hide some of it under this branch. It closes it back and say, "Hey, look, here's all the money." And they arrest the cartel. And he tells, the next thing you see is Richard and him are sitting on a boat. Mm-hmm. And he's like, "Hey, I'm glad you're feeling better, buddy." And he's like, "Hey, Richard," he's like, "why do we need to go back?" He said, "Well, Larry, we don't have a job, And he said, "Well, that $2 million that was hid."
Yeah. Turns out he actually stole $3 million. $3 million. Yeah. And then it's open a case of, how much money it is. I don't. At least $1 million, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, so.
And then comes with a fleet of.
Yeah. Larry's like, "No, I can't." He's like, "My life of crime, it's not our money." And he's like, "They don't know about it." He's like, "Oh, by the way, did I show you the new crew. And out comes these 4 ladies, gorgeous ladies, and he's like...
Basically a penthouse suite of beautiful women come out.
What's he say? Hey, how about Costa Rica or something like that, you know?
Yeah. And then we cut to Bernie, who's at doing a parade, and then holding 2 goats who are Henry and Charles.
No, I think they're tied to his antlers, aren't they? The spear through his head. Oh, and they're walking behind him.
I think they are. Yeah, I think they are. But yeah, by the way, they're attached to him, and so man.
And the movie ends.
Yeah,
man. But let's talk a little bit about the trivia. There's only about 5 things here. So in 2016. A third film was announced, Kyle. A third Weekend at Bernie's. It was going to be called
2016?
Weekend at Bernie's 3, The Corpse Awakens. Kind of like The Force Awakens, but The Corpse Awakens.
It's like Bernie versus Jason.
The production did not get past the developmental stage, but the script is readily available online and is a firm favorite at Fan Table Reads. So, Kyle, for our next installment of The Weekend at Bernie's, we will read The Weekend at Bernie's 3 script and give a review on it.
If we can get enough people to actually play a cast of it, I will read through it. Yeah, okay. I will.
We could do a live action audio drama. Dibs on Bernie. You want to say anything?
You want to say anything? Exactly. That's the thing. We'll all be narrating it, but it'll just be a video of you acting as Bernie. See, you're laying down.
Actually, I don't know. The Corpse Awakens. Does that mean he talks and everything now too? I don't know. We'll have to read that.
Yeah.
Gary Durdane's first feature film. It was filmed in the Virgin Islands, as Kyle said. This was shown only in London's West End. And according to Barry Bostwick's Q&A at the Spooky Empire Horror Convention in May of 2021, a completely different actress was cast as Claudia, but unfortunately suffered a mental breakdown 2 weeks into filming, causing production cast Troy Berger at a moment's notice, and reshoots were made.
Oh, wow.
So
that's sad.
So I really did have... Now, you know, I wonder if they feel bad for having all these mental breakdowns in the film, you know what I mean?
When you actually have a real person having a mental breakdown. And once again, like the idea of like, once again, I'm not saying the movie's racist. I'm not saying that was ever the intention or what they tried to do. But on the reading of it, Henry and Charles, who like seem no worse than Larry and Richard, and it's like, if anything, they could be better people. Actually, I have no idea if they're criminals. I feel like they were just stuck down there, and then the Voodoo Queen threatened to kill them if they didn't get the money.
Right.
And then they proceed to be turned into goats while the 2 white characters proceed to go off with $1 million to Costa Rica with a boat full of beautiful women. It was definitely a weird moment where I was like, why are they treated so horribly? They were treated so well. And it's like because they got pitched their wagon with the wrong couple of people. But it's also like they were threatened to be turned into goats. Right. They had no choice. It wasn't like they were bad people. So that was a moment that rubbed me the wrong way in a really big day. Also, what rubbed me the wrong way is Michael Bolton appearing in the credits and not actually being the Michael Bolton I want. Not to say anything that the production designer Michael Bolton is a bad director, a bad production designer. I'm sure he's fine in his job, but you have a terrible name for film. You have a terrible name. Besides that, though, I would say this film to me is less objectionable than Weekend at Bernie's 1. I think Weekend at Bernie's 1 is a little bit more cruder and mean-spirited in how it's kind of written and everything like that too. I think it's just it has a more hateful vibe to it. I think it's just you know, there wasn't like some like we never had that weird like anti-trans, anti-gay thing. Is, you know, granted popular in the 80s especially, but this one doesn't have those kind of jokes going on to it, so it's better on that level. And other fact too, like there isn't like the actual necrophilia scene. It's just implied maybe it happened on the beach this time.
And I don't even know if they actually did on this one either,
I don't think I think they just slept and laid together. Yeah. So there's no necrophilia thing, which I didn't find funny in the first one either. You know, so like I think that's like makes the jokes a little bit cleaner, a little bit more kid friendly, which I think this film is kind of should be a little more kid friendly. Whereas the first one was just like this is kind of sick and sad. So I appreciate that Weekend at Bernie's 2 on that level, where like this film is just less objectionable things going on, where I feel less vibes on it, besides the once again the kind of the race thing I kind of mentioned earlier. So on that level, this is maybe like 4 out of 10, maybe 5 out of 10 at best. So like I don't actually hate this film. Yeah, I've had a lot of fun going through the entire plot again, even though I never want to watch it again because watching it was a snore. But talking about it is fun, I'll admit. This was a fun podcast to record and has redeemed a lot of this film for me immediately. But overall, this film is like well worth passing up. I don't think Weekend at Bernie's is a good series in my mind, and I don't think they're well worth watching. But I'm sure Jimbo disagrees, and so he'll recommend it.
Oh, we do disagree now, because once again, you're wrong.
Yeah. So, Jimbo, you take it from me. What do you think of Weekend at Bernie's?
Kyle, it's an automatically 7 just for Terry Kaiser's dancing in this. I have never laughed so hard. You know, when you got to admit, when he starts that little leg shake, when he's on the toilet, and he starts that little leg shake, and then you just see him, and then he does that little, like, slump back and still be able to dance like that, turning his head like this as he's walking.
I wish Terry Kaiser got more opportunities to be a comedic actor in more films because of this. I wish there was a better film where he could have done this in.
Right. But in the first one, he didn't have to do much. He just had to basically be thrown around.
Yeah, but
this one...
He got animated in a way that was really impressive.
Every time.
The
conga scene line, the one where he's in the bathroom, or where they're raising him in the thing, when he's on the pool in the whole
even the ragdoll scenes are a lot more clever set pieces than in the first film. The first film, it's all about just how can we throw his head against a rock.
Right.
This film is actually like, what can we do with his body in like a theatrical way to be funny and goofy in a cool cartoony way.
Right. It's like,
I appreciate that.
It's like, I wish I could have found more trivia about
the stunt work.
The stunt work. Yeah. Like, what scenes did they use a stunt double for? Did he do a lot of this all on his own?
How many injuries did he have this time versus the last time? Because the last time he had a lot of injuries.
Oh, yeah, he got a lot of stuff.
Several rib injuries. So I wonder.
Well, that was his stunt double that hit the buoys. Remember?
The stunt double and the other people too. But also, I wonder, what were the things they did in the sequel to help prevent that? Hopefully, or did they do any of those things, or did they just throw him around like a ragdoll again? Who knows?
Well, they didn't really have to do anything with him except stuff him in a suitcase. But I think that was probably a dummy in this.
Yeah, and all the times he hit his head could easily have been like a foam thing, like hitting his head on the Jeep bar or something like that too. They could easily just be a foam.
Well, did you hear yelling? Oh, dink.
Yeah, they put the sound effects in. They imply it, like a lot of Three Stooges like effects, which is good.
Right.
Yeah. So I think this one was definitely a lot hotter. It was not as hard on his body. I almost said hotter. Not as hard on his body, which is very, very good. So I like that. It's both a safer and funnier type of humor with Bernie this time around versus the first film, which I think was a little more cruder and just less funny.
I think they are both funny, and I really want to see what Weekend at Bernie's 3 is about. I don't know if it'll be any good, but Kyle, your job is to read that script.
Not, but we can look into that script and see.
We will look at that script, and I bet you it's funny. But just visualizing Terry Kaiser as Bernie, that's going to make that script even way more funnier than what you probably think it is right now.
I would say watching Weekend at Bernie's 2 makes me think like this is like there actually is an idea here that could have been a good film even today. Even if they did like a reboot remake thing of Weekend at Bernie's, you could probably make a really funny film out of it now. That's what Weekend at Bernie's 2 showed me. Weekend at Bernie's 1, I thought like this idea is terrible from the get-go. No one should ever touch this property ever again. Now I'm like, we might be able to someone can make a... Seth Rogen will decide someday he wants to make a stoner version of Weekend at Bernie's, and I'll probably watch that. Why not? Paul Rudd and Seth Rogen in Weekend at Bernie's 2.
Maybe we should just get Brett from the Evil Never Dies, and we'll call it Weekend at Brett's.
Yes. Uncle Brester.
We'll tie Brett up to us, and we'll lag him around. Go into haunted houses.
No, everyone dies someday. We can make this work. Put in his will.
Yeah, so I'm rated at least a 7. I think it's a fun watch, even though Kyle's wrong. I think 1 and 2 are both great. I like 2 probably better. Just the dancing scenes alone.
2 is a better movie. Yes, it is.
Well, with that being said, if you'd like to follow us on the social medias, we are the Tragedy of Cinema Podcast on Facebook, the group. If you would like to email us, we are the tragedyofcinema@gmail.com. We are on TikTok. We're thinking about throwing around a couple of different things like Jamming with Jimbo, where I'll be covering maybe like John Williams and some of the scores and soundtracks, and then maybe catching up with Kyle, where he'll be talking about maybe some of the food in the movies. No, I don't know.
There's a lot of stuff we can't talk about. Or something's on.
So we're throwing some other stuff around. So be on the lookout. We'll probably do some different things. Also, we
do cool things. We want to grow, do cool things that are optional for reviewers, and that that can improve the overall quality of our product.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, with that being said, I think this episode's coming to close. Before I forget, next week we are going to go back and watch a horror film. I believe it was in the 80s. If I remember. Fright Night.
Yeah. I forget what year that came out too, but I know it came out.
So the original Fright Night we'll be covering next week. So stay tuned for that.
Do you want to read that review?
The what?
The review?
The review of... Oh, yes. I forgot.
You forgot about the review.
Man,
I'm trying to pull it up right now. Give me a second. I can't.
Yeah, we did have a review.
There it is.
Come in.
Got it.
And this was from Bond, Jason Bond. And it was a 5-star classic 80s comedy. It says, I loved your review of Weekend at Bernie's. Now you have to review the 80s comedy classic, Mannequin. Or even better, Mannequin 2.
I believe from Mannequin 1 actually stars Andrew McCarthy from this film.
So, Bond, we have added it to the list.
We'll get around to it
talked
someday.
about it probably here in a few weeks. We'll do Mannequin 1 and then Maybe we'll do Mannequin 1 and 2 at the same time.
That could be cool. Yeah.
Kind of knock them both out at the same time.
Yeah.
So
I don't know when we get to it, but I'm saying like at least this year. I think.
Probably the next month or so.
Yeah.
I'd say.
We'll work it in.
Well, with that being said, I think this episode's coming to a close, and that's a wrap.
And cut.